Hey everybody, hi, this is DJ Psychic Cyndee, and I am in the studio with an artist that I have the pleasure of speaking with. I am talking to a legend, a Southern rock legend, who also has a very, very, very successful solo career. He's been in the music business for over 30 years. I want to say 40 years. I don't want to say too many years. It's unbelievable the amount of songs that have been co-written, written, recorded by this gentleman, and I'd like to welcome Mr. Doug Gray to the program. Hello, Doug.
How are you this morning?
I'm doing very, very good. Now, are you down in Tennessee right now?
Actually, I'm in South Carolina. The publicity office is in Tennessee, but I live in Spartanburg, South Carolina still.
Oh, okay, so you're having some good weather, like we're having some great weather.
We are all having really good weather right now. It's certainly a change from the previous couple of weeks for everybody in the country.
Are you looking forward to coming up here to New Jersey?
You know what? I do. We play up there a lot, and we play all the areas, and lots of different places. And, across the country's good, but we seem to have a huge amount of following fans that come and hang out with us, not just because we play. We come up there just to hang out, and we don't have to go into that detail, but we come up there a lot, and it's always really been good for us. And
this is Doug Gray from the group, the Marshal Tucker Band, and there are just so many Marshal Tucker songs and so many hits. Heard It in a Love Song, Fire on the Mountain, Take the Highway. There's just too many. This Old Cowboy. How many? Could you give us maybe a little heads up on what songs you might be choosing, because you have so many hits to choose from? What we might be able to look forward to this weekend?
One of the most important things is the audience. The audience lets me know. I ask them about the second song. What songs do you want to hear?
Oh, wow.
And then if they're into it, then we go. We follow no schedule like a lot of bands go and rehearse for their entire tour. Mm-hmm. We have constantly been on tour for 40 years, so it has made it a little easier to know what the people want to hear. And a lot of times we promote our newer records and our greatest hits that just came out in April. And then, of course, that Doug Gray solo record, I don't, we just put that out simply because it was recorded 30 years ago, and we wanted something to be out there. But a lot of bands live to promote each individual record, and we've never done it quite like that. And I think that has attributed a lot to what we are still today, a band that stands on stage, and people are starting, over the last 5 years, there's been like 70 different songs of ours in movies, and Kevin Costner likes us a lot, and all these different people like us, and they've grown up with us, and we've met them and stuff like that, so they put us in a lot of their movies, and it seems to be working out good for us because we still have some great sellout shows everywhere we go.
Well, I'm talking about some of the movies. The Marshal Tucker Band has so many hit songs, and I want to introduce a little bit more information about the Soul of the South, which is Doug Gray's 30 years. These are songs that were recorded some 30 years ago that were never released. And
right.
Then they were...
What happened is Tommy Caldwell, one of the original guys that started the band with me, got killed in 1980 in an automobile accident, mm-hmm. and that changed a little bit of the band. His older brother, Toy, was also a founding member with me, and I didn't have anything to do for about 6 months. Went into the studio and didn't ever intend to do anything except to play around and have a good time, kill some time. And we went in and I found about 7 or 8 songs and decided that I'd do them the way that on the music that I listened to, which was soulful music, and I call it soul music back in the earlier days. And I found those songs, and then lo and behold, here was these major record labels coming in saying, man, we just heard a little bit of that, and we want to sign you and take you away from Marshal Tucker. Well, of course, that wasn't going to happen. So instead of leaving Marshal Tucker, I put the stuff in the vault and never even thought about it for about 29 years. And then so this year just happened to be the 30th year, and we decided that we would finish it up, make it sound pretty, and put it out in conjunction with this Greatest Hits record. So, people know that I'm dedicated to Marshall Tucker because it has been over 40 years now.
Wow, that's really fantastic, though. But think of the audience and think of the fans and think of all of us. We get to enjoy those songs. Finally, they've been in the vault for.
I have to tell you, one of the greatest moments of my entire day, if I'm at home, which is we're still gone about 165, 170 days a year. But when I'm at home, I walk through my house, and I don't go into that room as much as I probably should, but all my stuff is in there, all those gold and platinum records, and it reminds me of the appreciation that I've had for continuing on. It's not just because people love the music, it's just because they were part of our lives growing up, and they still are being part of our lives going into the future.
Wow, this is such a fantastic honor. If you're just tuning in, this is DJ Psychic Cyndee, and I am on the phone, and I'm speaking with Mr. Doug Gray, Marshal Tucker Band, and we're discussing a little bit about his own solo release album, which just came out a couple months ago. It's brand new, but the songs are 30-year-old recordings that he saved for a special time, and that time is now. I also picked up a little piece of information that I wanted to share with everyone. You actually worked on a song that was co-written by Michael Bolton.
Yeah, actually, Michael had never recorded anything at that point in time. Isn't that weird? And I found a song that he had co-written with somebody else, and I didn't even know who Michael Bolton was until we started researching the songs that I had picked 30 years ago.
That's fantastic. I noticed
that.
So
there's a hidden story behind a lot of those. And, of course, one of the songs on there is a Spiral Staircase song that this producer at the time bet me $5 that I couldn't do the song. It was a song that everybody's familiar with called More Today Than Yesterday.
You couldn't hit the high notes. Is that what they were saying?
That's exactly what he said.
That's
and I said, okay. So we went out, got some Mexican food, ate a lot of really good, hot, spicy stuff, went back in there and cut that song, and only went through it a couple of times.
Wow.
And that's about all I could. But we did it, and I cut the record, and the rest is history.
I love these behind-the-scenes stories. We just found out about someone actually won all rights to a band in a card game, and I won't go on, public with who that was, but it's the stories out there, and it's fascinating what goes on. You live on the road, you live on the bus, you live on the tour. You got to stay in your zone. You got to be an artist, but you have to be in the place at the time with everything going on around you. How did you like touring? Did you really love being on the road and city to city? I mean, you have toured more for 150 shows, at minimum of 150 shows a year, and sometimes 200. And we're not talking a year or two or three. The Marshal Tucker Band has been on the road for many, many years, decades. And
you know what, I have to say this because it's pretty simple. We have never, a lot of bands that are out there now are bands that have been stopped and recreated. We never stopped touring, and which makes good for my guys, because my guys, some of them been there 27, 28 years, and they're all very much dedicated to making all of us sound as good as the way we tried to do it in the very beginning in 1972 when we first started Marshal Tucker Band. And it's been kind of nice to watch these bands come and go with us and Skinner, taking Skinner out for the first time up through the South, and then knowing Ronnie, and then of course everybody knows the problems that happened with the plane crash and us losing Ronnie. So I've watched all these bands transpire into something different, and it makes monumental for me because there is a story behind every song and a story behind every person that you see out there on the road. And, all of those times that we would go down the road, you never knew who you were going to run into. It was a very familiar, and it's almost haunting sometimes when you see somebody and you hadn't seen them for 10 years, and their bus pulls up at a truck stop and y'all are refueling, the guys out refueling the bus, and we're just out there mulling around trying to get unboard from being stiff on the tour bus, So you just never know who it's going to be next.
think of the gambler in my mind, you know. You just deal. You're in a different zone. You're on a different time zone half the time, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know, you're not in the 9 to 5. I mean, your whole energy just starts to shift, and you start to probably, I'm sure the outside starts to take on, you know, takes on a different kind of energy. And then you go into your creative zone.
It certainly does. And I tell you, really talking about time zones, we just got back from doing Iraq again.
Wow.
And Kuwait and playing for the troops. So that was very monumental to us. We were over there for about 10 days and came back and then played one show in Houston and then went on a whirlwind tour of just being across the whole United States. And I never got back with it. I mean, it catches up to you ever so often, but you can't let it be. You can't let it be the dominating factor in your life. And dominating is taking care of your family.
Well, also talk about your reunion and people from days, you know, behind and forward and in the middle, past, present, future. The Marshal Tucker Band will also be on the Rock of Legends cruise, which will be going to the Bahamas. It's December 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and I think it's the 5th, but I know it's a 4-day cruise. Marshal Tucker Band, we've talked to Bobby Ingram, and the Molly Hatchet Band will be there. Outlaws will be there. ZZ Top will be there. George Thorogood, Foghat, one of the Almonds. I think it's Devin, the honey. I know it's not Michael, but I think it's Devin. 18 bands. So you guys are really like the I don't want to say the pioneers, but I think that's a good term, right?
That's okay to say pioneer because it's kind of fitting. But, you know, whenever ZZ Top, and of course ZZ Top's headlining the show, and then George Thorogood, but then, you know, they kind of looked at us to what other bands would be a great group of guys to go on there. And, you know, of course, that's who we said. Is let's add some of these other bands. And, boy, you know, it kind of went uphill from there. It was kind of great to have, you know, all the guys from the Outlaws and, you know, the people like that. And you know, I'm just looking forward to it. It's going to be what it is for my guys. It's a vacation. You go out there and you play 3 shows for people that really want to be there to hear all that good music. And we've done them like that before, but you know, this is one particular one. It's quite a large ship. It's Royal Caribbean, and it's a huge spot for them, and it's also a benefit for the Native American people. And that's the most important part of it all.
Yeah, I've spoken to them, and we're doing a little talking about some of that business, too. And it is a very, very good cause, and it's going to probably be one of those, you get on board and you're transported because you're surrounded by all this powerful artistic energy. And I really believe that, you know, what comes through the artist, it's not just linear. You know, it's not just physical. Something very powerful and very magical comes through the artists. And I believe...
I think you will find that that's what's going to happen. Every cruise that I've ever been on, and there was a couple of them that we went out there, that just, you never touch, and I call this every time that we come back to South Carolina, and I put my foot back on the ground. I call it coming home to touch base with reality, because you're living in a whole other world when you're on the road. Even though you're standing up in front of people that enjoy your music and they've enjoyed your creativity over the years and the great memories that you shared with them, but at the same time, it has been. At the same time, it's been just a real pleasure to be able to do. And of course, I lost my train of thought on that. So I'll let you do it when my other phone went off.
That's okay. That happens. You know, we have this happening all the time. Sometimes we have cell phones and people on the phone. And one guy wanted to win tickets, and his cell phone died. And we said, it's okay. We'll give you the tickets. So we're in a real world. We've got so much technology going on. But if you're just tuning in, this is DJ Psychic Cyndee. I'm on the phone with Doug Gray from the Marshal Tucker Band. I want to thank you for sitting here and taking the time out to talk to us a little bit. I wanted to run through the current members of the band and who's going to be. I want to give them a little bit of mention. Also, what I have right here is B.B. Borden on the drums.
Right.
Pat Elwood, bass guitar vocal. You,
Correct.
Of course, on the lead vocals and the tambourine. Marcus James Henderson, keyboards. I have Stuart Swanland. Did I say that well?
Right.
Okay, and Rick Willis on the guitar.
Right.
And that is the Marshall Tucker Band. We have www.marshalltuckerband.com, and you can go there for additional information about the Marshall Tucker Band. And I'm going to say that one more time. It's the www.marshalltucker, and that's marshalltuckerband.com on the internet, and you can go there for more information about the band. We also have the release of their greatest hits album in conjunction with a release of The Soul of the South, and that is Doug Gray's original 30 years being released after 30 years R&B recordings, Soul of the South. And later in the program, we will be playing you a couple tracks from that album. And if you're interested, again, you can go also to Amazon. We have some very, very important information about that also. But I wanted to stop now and thank you for joining me. I want to thank you. You're so sweet. You're such a special man. I feel so honored and so privileged. Well, this is DJ Psychic Cyndee, and I want to thank you very much for taking the time to bless us with your energy and give us the opportunity to get a little closer to the artist. I also hope and I pray I will see you on Sunday, and I want to shake your hand and have the opportunity to meet you in person also.
And I'm looking forward to that as well, Cyndee.
Well, thank you so much. I will see you on Sunday, everyone. This is Mr. Doug Gray, founding member and the Marshall Tucker Band. Thank you so much, Doug. I appreciate it.
Thank you.